Hey, I just got permission.
Alright, hello and welcome to the Rusty Misfits Racing League Falcon Graphics Mini Stock Series. Here on the paved side of things tonight, we are at New Smyrna Speedway for race number 2 of Season 6. Dean Quallie coming out with a statement last week, winning the race, showing that championship in Season number 5 was not a fluke. But ladies and gentlemen, we are here for race number 2. Like I said, we are following along Kenny Troughton on track in practice. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I have a guest in the studio. Hunter Wellman joining me because he does not feel like racing. Says he doesn't own the track or something. I don't know, some lame excuse like that. But Hunter, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. I went and took the money from this track and bought the entry fee to the Monday night series.
Absolutely, and talking about Monday night, we ran the ARCA last night there at Iowa Speedway, 125 laps, and that was a bit of a workout. I don't know how you're feeling after that race, Hunter, but I was one tired boy.
Oh, I feel like retiring. I sped on pit road a couple of times and screwed myself out of a good finish.
Definitely a difficult track to run, and tonight I think we're going to see a lot of the same from these boys out here tonight. But before we get too much further into tonight's program, I do think we should go through our opening ceremonies and start with our national anthems.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming,
whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight
o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming,
and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Alright, we are wrapping up practice. Kenny Troughton in that number 25 machine, bringing up the top of our leaderboard. Getting ready to go some I believe we do get, oh no, I forgot, we do not do qualifying here in the Rusty Misfits Racing League. We do straight into our heat race with pill draws. Heat race number 1 will see Bradley Stefan on the pole position with that number 89 car. Mick Olofsson in that 75 coming up outside pole. Row number 2 sees a 27 of Justin Walbring with a 33 of Austin Strang on that outside line. As we wait for our field to grid up here, they do seem to be taking their sweet time to do so. Hunter, in this heat race, out of those 4 cars, we got some pretty solid competitors. Bradley, Mick, and Justin especially are going to be very, very tough to pick from, but who do you think is going to come out on top?
Man, that's a tough question to answer. New Smyrna is a very interesting track and very hard to run. I might have to take Mick on this one. I'm not entirely sure though, as we see the cars rolling off of pit road.
Yeah, not quite sure what's going on here. It looks like Bradley deciding not to come out, not taking advantage of that pole position here. This would be an ideal race to start on that pole position for. You win this race, you will start on the pole for our feature. But you know what? I'm pretty sure Mr. Walbring in that 27 car there's not minding taking advantage of the 89, missing the start.
100%. This track really, you can really benefit off a track position here. So being able to start on pole in such a long race will definitely help out these 3.
Absolutely. It's a 75 lap feature here tonight, and having a good starting spot could be key to having a good finish tonight as the pace car is away. Getting ready to go green flag racing, heat race number 1. There's the green flag. Mick Olofsson keeping Justin Walbring honest on that inside. But Mick not quite able to think. You see these cars getting a little bit sideways, loose and spinning and almost losing control. But Walbring coming out on top, getting ahead of Mick Olofsson for the lead, coming out of turn number 4. Walbring still out front. Mick Olofsson trying to reel him in. Got a little out of control coming off turn 2. Now coming under fire from Austin Strang. Mick Olofsson able to hold off that 33 car for the moment being, but that battle between those 2 cars has allowed Walbring to pull out by over half a second. Nice gap now as they come with 5 laps to go. Eight-lap heat races here. Should have 2 of them, I believe. Justin Walbring out to an early lead here after inheriting pole position. Bradley Stefan not gridding up for this heat race. Mick Olofsson falling back down into second, but he has got Austin Strang all over that back bumper. Hunter, this is going to be a fight to the end.
100%. Austin is less than a car length off the rear bumper of Mick. Mick getting a little loose. He's going to lose a lot more momentum.
Austin Strang not able to take advantage of that slip up from that 75 car ahead of him. Mick able to keep that door closed, but you see those cars are all kinds of squirrely.
Yeah, Mick has really overused his tires these past couple of laps. He needs to cool his tires, or else Austin Strang might just be able to get around him.
Very much possibility here. And I'm wondering if it's not a little bit of a situation similar to what we just ran in the Legend Series just moments ago, where we had a very hot and slick racetrack in practice. I know when I was out there, I could not touch that throttle coming off the corner, but got into the race and that track cooled down. All of a sudden you had grip as we are now 1 lap to go. Mick Olofsson pulling that gap open over the 33 ever so slightly as we come down the back straight one more time. Justin Walbring to 3 and 4. Will win heat race number 1. Mick Olofsson second place. Austin Strang wrapping up third. Justin securing that pole position for the feature race tonight, getting the best starting spot possible.
A little tap from Mick Olfson there. I'm not sure if that's to show respect or if he's a little angry with that 27.
I'm going to guess that's just a little congratulations, Justin, on a good race. Justin had a great start, great run. Did very well through that race, did exactly what he needed to. But Hunter, let's take a look at our starting lineup for race number 2 here. Heat race, that is. Larson Parker in that 18 car starting on the inside pole position with Dean Quallie starting outside of him. Row 2 sees Kenny Troughton and Matt Moreau. Hunter, this is another stacked heat race. Larson Parker, we know, is stupid fast in pretty much any car we put him in. Dean Quallie, that Strange Brew crew, we've talked about it before, we'll talk about it again. They know how to save tires and be there when it counts. Kenny Troughton coming back out of retirement. That dude is seriously fast too. It's pretty hard to keep him behind you.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of racing against all of these four, Larson and Dean, and Kenny too. I haven't raced against him as much, but all of these guys are extremely fast.
Absolutely.
Dean definitely knows how to save tires, and on these longer runs, he will have the upper hand.
Absolutely, and you know what, Matt Moreau, he's kind of a sleeper. He's kind of quiet. He doesn't make a lot of noise in these league races, but he has been there when it's counted before. You cannot count out that 38 Dodge Avenger. Should be going green flag racing this time, and yes, the pace car pulls off. Green flag in the air. Larson Parker in that all-black 18 gets a decent start. Dean Quallie doing everything he can to keep alongside. He actually does a pretty solid job coming through 1 and 2, keeping that 18 car down below. They make contact. Kenny Troughton gets into the outside wall as well. Still side by side. Larson now clearing that 17 car. Dean having to fight off Kenny Troughton on the inside. Definitely looking like that inside line's where you're going to want to be as Kenny gets a hard lick at that outside wall.
Dean was able to make a crossover move happen there, trying to defend his second place position. Kenny just took a little too much of that track, used his tires a little too much, and it stuffed him in the wall.
Just a little bit too much, trying to get as much momentum coming off that corner like you said there. And yeah, that outside wall comes quick, and unlike the NASCAR Cup Series tracks, this track does not have the safer barrier. It is straight concrete. There is absolutely no give when you hit that wall. Five laps to go, coming to 4. Larson Parker still in the lead, but Dean Quallie reeling him in going into turn number 3. In fact, make that 3 cars under a blanket. Matt Moreau just kind of hanging back. He kind of fell back a little bit as we got a battle for the lead coming into turn 1.
Larson hit the wall, and that gave up all of his lead to the 17 of Dean Quallie, now side by side almost going into turns 3 and 4.
Larson finding a little something on that exit allowed him to clear that 17 of Dean. Dean trying to keep that door closed on Kenny Troughton behind him. Troughton trying everything he can and looks to the inside, thought better of it there.
Once again, all 3 of these cars are neck and neck. These 3 just can't get away from each other towards the end of this race.
This is short track super speedway racing at its best right now. 2 laps to go at the line. Larson Parker, Dean Quallie, Kenny Troughton. Dean and Kenny getting a little bit of contact, getting a little bit of sideways. Larson getting into the wall. They keep making mistakes like this. It could be anyone's race as we come out of turn 4. One more lap around this racetrack. Larson has it. Dean wants it. Larson slips up a little bit, lets Dean get to the nose to the inside. Dean gets a little sideways though. Still side by side coming into turn 3. Ooh, Dean hard into that outside wall.
Dean dove hard into 3 and 4, and Kenny dove a little harder, put him in the wall. Kenny will take second place in the heat race, with Larson Parker winning heat 2.
Absolutely, and don't forget Matt Moreau right there sneaking by, taking advantage of that issue of Dean Quallie's to take third place away. Dean's going to have a little bit of ground to make up, but we've seen him do it before. Now, there seems to be a little bit of a wait going on here, but we will be getting ready to grid up for our 75 lap feature. And there we go. Now iRacing is catching up with us. Let's take a quick look at our starting lineup. 8 cars into tonight's race, 4 rows, 2 deep. Justin Walbring, Larson Parker starting on that front row by virtue of winning their respective heat races. Justin will have that preferred inside line on that start though. Row number 2 sees Mick Olofsson in that 75 car in 3rd place with Kenny Troughton on his outside. In 5th, row number 3, Austin Strang in that 33 car with Matt Moreau in that 38 outside. Row number 4 sees Brad Stefan and Dean Quallie. Brad did not start his heat race. Dean having issues trying to fight for the win of heat race number 2 in 3 and 4, getting into the outside wall, costing him a lot of track position and making him settle for a last place finish. Hunter, this is a stacked race. It can go any one of 8 different ways here.
Oh, absolutely. I am having a really hard time trying to picture how this race might play out tonight.
Well, Justin Walbring on pole position. He's in the catbird seat right now. If he can get a good start here when that pace car pulls away, let those guys behind him duke it out as the green flag comes out. 75 laps here at New Smyrna, but Larson Parker with an amazing start on that outside is able to clear Walbring going into turn 1. Kenny Troughton follows him around on that outside line.
Not the greatest start for Justin. Looked like he may have missed a shift or shifted a little earlier. Wasn't able to really get the momentum coming off of turn 4.
Well, we got Ray Unk Andrews, I'll say, cheering on Justin in that 27 car, who has managed to maintain 2nd place. Now over Matt Moreau. Matt Moreau getting around the 25 car of Kenny Troughton. Now Kenny's got a battle on his hands for Mick Olofsson. Mick looking down low. Right now, it is a balancing act with these drivers between aggression, trying to get every position you can, not letting that leader get too far out, and doing what Dean Quallie is here in the back of this pack, and trying not to wear your tires out too quick, fighting each other. Still side by side now, Kenny losing that position to Mick. Mick not having the moment to breathe easy. Kenny's all over that back bumper. Kenny trying to sweep across that rear view mirror, trying to make Mick move up a little bit. Does so, gets to the inside. Trying to retake 4th place away from Mick Olofsson, and that 75 car is not able to make it happen that time though. Right now, though, at the front of this pack, Larson Parker, after a great initial start, out to the lead, but Justin Walbring keeping him on and staying about a half second behind.
You know, Larson, Justin, all these guys in the top 3 or 4, they have an advantage over the rest of the pack. They're able to stay out here, set the pace, and more importantly, keep their tires cool, which is something that'll come into play once we get past the halfway point.
Absolutely, and you remember what I said about Matt Moreau in his heat race about, not sleeping on him? That guy is kind of quiet and he can be there when it counts. Well, he is currently 3rd place, just behind Justin Walbring. Right now, it's the big battle is between Mick Olofsson and Kenny Troughton. Kenny coming up victorious that time as Mick got a little sideways coming off the corner. Austin Strang and Dean Quallie battling it out back here for 6th. Going to have to keep an eye on this 17 car. He will start a quiet march up the field. He knows how to get around traffic, knows how to save those tires while doing so somehow. Gap at the front is starting to extend now. Just about 1 second between Larson Parker, Justin Walbring in second. Matt Moreau's starting to reel in that 27 car ever so slightly though. Seeing that gap continue to close, just inches at a time, really, but it is slowly starting to open up between, or close up there between Matt Moreau, Justin Walbring. But I think Matt's seeing a mirror of Kenny Troughton getting bigger and bigger. Maybe that's putting a little pressure on that 38 to try to get up there and get around that 27. Had a moment there, if you saw in the very corner of your screen, it looked like Austin Strang had a moment where he thought of trying to make a move on Dean Quallie, but thought better of it. Now Dean is up there trying to fight with Olofsson, trying to get 5th place away. But right now, it is a Larson Parker show. You know, maybe he's channeling a little bit of his namesake there. If you watched the NASCAR race this Sunday, Kyle Larson dominated at Bristol. This track a little bit different, but fairly similar in size. And Larson Parker has nobody up there that can touch him at this moment.
Yeah, the main thing Larson needs to focus on right now is his tires. Last week at USA, him and Dean had a several second lead over the field. And because of how much he used up his tires in that first lap, me in the mid-pack was able to get that lead down to about a second or so.
Absolutely. Got the battle shaping for 3rd up here. Kenny Troughton has closed that distance up. Now he's looking to the inside of Matt Moreau. Matt Moreau doing a little bit of smart racing right here. Not fighting that 25 too hard. Realizes that there's still a lot of race left in this. We are not even a third of the way through yet. Matt Moreau letting that 25 car, well, I say that, he is battling Kenny pretty hard on that outside line.
Yeah, Matt's able to have so much more momentum rolling off the quarter than Kenny can. If you're running by yourself, you definitely want to be as low as possible, but if you're side by side, one car can definitely make that outside line work.
Absolutely. He tried to cross over there after Kenny cleared him, was not able to keep that nose down there, make it stick like Kenny could. Now Kenny up into 3rd, Matt down to 4th. Meanwhile, looking back here, Dean Quallie up into 5th there. Mick Olson losing a couple of positions to Dean and Austin. Mick now in 7th place at the back of this field. Seeing that car getting all kinds of sideways coming off of turn number 2. I wonder if he is not having an issue with his car's handling right now. And we have a caution on the field. Looks like 2nd place Justin Walbring having issues. Kenny Troughton getting around to him. Matt Moreau getting up and just make a little light contact on that left rear. And then just getting into the corner. Ooh, hard contact for that 27 car. And contact made from, I believe that's Austin
Mick Olofsson.
What is that, Olofsson?
Sorry, Austin Strain hit him, but Mick Olofsson hit the wall on the outside trying to avoid him.
Yeah, definitely. Just shows even spread out how quickly things happen at these short tracks that, you know, cars at the back of the pack, not really even close to the car that causes an incident, can be involved sometimes. Not really seeing many takers on pit road. Mick Olofsson going in, most likely to get a little damage repair after making contact with that outside wall. We see Justin Walbring out off the track at the moment. Kenny Troughton playing games down at the bottom of the track. But no one coming down the pit road to take advantage of the fresh set of tires they all have sitting down there in their pit stalls.
Yeah, Kenny's always been a big fan of trying to ride that apron under caution. I'm not sure if it's an effort to keep his tires cool, but whatever it is, it probably believe it works for him.
Well, we definitely know that that 25 car can be quick, and now he's going to be up there on this restart trying to pressure that 18 car who has had no competition so far tonight. Matt Moreau back up into third after Justin Walbring, who was running second, had issues. Dean Quallie, like I said, we're going to have to keep an eye on that guy. He is now up to fourth. Austin Strang in fifth as we see Mick Olofsson trying to catch up to this pack as we are getting ready to go back green flag racing. Pace car pulls off, green flag in the air. Larson with a solid restart. Kenny just able to hold on to that back quarter panel. But Larson clears him coming into turn one. Kenny Troughton not letting that back bumper get away. Hunter, this might be a battle for the rest of this race.
100%. These guys really know how to handle these cars. Kenny looking a little to the inside there, trying to make something work on the straight.
Well, I don't know much about you, Hunter, and how you like to play games sometimes when you're behind the wheel, but racing is a mental game against your opponent sometimes, and one thing I like to do is, even if I don't have the run on the car ahead of me, coming down about the halfway point of the straightaway, I'll duck down to the inside to make them think I have that run.
Yeah, I have used that move many times, and I don't think I've made it work, but it does work for many. Kenny Troughton getting into the wall there, overdriving his car a little too much, losing a lot of time to the 18.
Absolutely, that opened that gap up from mere inches to almost 3/4 of a second and put Kenny in danger of losing second spot to Matt Moreau. As you see Kenny once again, that back end start to hang out coming off of turn number 4. Dean Quallie even right here, he is also in this pack, looking to make a little noise, but I think we got a move on second place. Matt Moreau down to the inside of that 25 car, Kenny Troughton.
Yeah, Kenny lost the momentum on the straight again. Matt Moreau was able to take advantage of it. He's looking to the inside into turn 3. Kenny is able to chop him down a little.
Yeah, Matt was not able to keep his nose down there, but Matt now might be under fire from that 17 car. Dean Quallie and that Strange Brew Racing machine. They settle it out, go back single file there, about equal distance between those 3 cars. But at the front, this battling is allowing Larson Parker to once again stretch that lead, now 1.6 seconds ahead of second place. Matt Moreau, he is not letting that 25 car get away from him. He is there on that back bumper once again. In fact, he might have even opened the gap up a little bit on that 17 machine.
Looks like it. These 2 cars are slowly but surely driving away from him unless Dean can do something here. Use a little bit of that tire.
Well, we are not quite halfway yet in this race. Lap 34 coming to lap 35. Got a couple more laps and then we'll be at halfway as we see Matt Moreau once again peeking to the inside. Kenny Troughton goes high, gives him the room. Matt not able to get that bumper down alongside though. In fact, why don't we hop on board with our 4th place car and watch this battle shaping up ahead of him. Dean Quallie trying his best to keep with this pack and trying to save a little bit of that tire. We know he's capable of doing that. In fact, that time he was a little bit closer to Matt Moreau than he has been in the last about 5 or 10 laps.
You'll notice Dean is entering the corner much lower than Matt and Kenny, trying to save tires for the late stages of this race. Kenny getting a little high there.
Do believe that 25 car got into that outside wall a little bit that time off of turn number 2. Does not seem to have hurt him that badly though. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are over halfway, or just over halfway now, lap 38 of 75. These guys, we'll start seeing who is able to start or save more of their tires and who has worn their equipment out.
I believe Kenny may have used a little much. You see him still running that middle to high line despite not having a car under him. I'm not sure if it's his driving line or if his tires are too used up.
Well, a good race car driver will search around trying to find some grip, but it does appear that he pulled a little bit too high that time. Matt Moreau, Dean Quallie able to close whatever bit of a gap there was. It is now a three-way battle for second. Second place still being a battle, but they are still running single file. They close that gap, and then it's almost like watching a slinky. That the gap closes and it spreads back out just a little bit here. Meanwhile, fifth place, Austin Strang out by himself. No competition behind, no competition ahead. Just kind of running laps as if he was in a practice session. Same goes for Mick Olsen, who is quite a ways behind the field.
They may not be in contention now, but all it takes is one caution, and all of a sudden these guys are only tenths behind the leader.
Absolutely, and you just don't want to be the caution.
If there were to be a caution, my money's going on one of these three right here. They have been less than a couple of tenths of a second behind each other for nearly the entire race now.
Yeah, we've seen Kenny there able to open that gap back up over Matt Moreau ever so slightly. Went a little high through 1 and 2 that time. That gap closed down just a little bit. But now, oh, Matt Moreau getting sideways. Dean Quallie getting him turned around, and guess what? No caution.
No caution.
There is the caution. I'm guessing that might have been an admin thrown caution because that definitely deserved one. Matt Moreau facing the wrong way on the racetrack. Let's take a quick look at our instant replay here. Matt Moreau just gets loose coming off turn 4. Dean Quallie has nowhere to go. Gets him turned all the way around into the inside wall and facing the wrong way down the front straightaway.
Very unfortunate there for Matt. He was running in third there for last 30-ish laps. Definitely would have had a strong finish. But there is still time for him. If he saved enough tires, or if he pits for tires like Kenny is, he may be able to climb back through the field.
Yeah, now is the time that we will see strategy coming in. Larson Parker, very slow on the back straightaway. I'm wondering, I'm kind of curious what's going on with this 18 car and why he is at an absolute stop on the back straight unless he is, well, it appears he is pulling off the racetrack.
I'm not entirely sure what the 18 is doing. Did he get damage in any way?
I honestly have no idea here. Let's take a quick look.
The 18 taking a tow to the pits.
Very slow coming off of the corner here, coming into turn 1. Let's see if we can back up far enough to figure out what happened to him.
Well, it looks like he's going full race speed there until the caution comes out, then just, I don't know, did he have an engine failure?
It is very hard to tell. We are going to have to see if we can find out after, because, yeah, that car just came to a stop, but completely shaking up the lineup here. The two cars we were just talking about needing a caution to get back in this are now at the front of the pack.
Yeah, Austin Strain and Mick Olofsson decided to not take tires this past pit stop. They have now gone from last to first under this caution.
You're getting ready for the restart here. They're going to have just over 25 laps to go. Go to find out if this is the play, but you know what? If they can go for 5 to 10 laps, get another caution flag and pit themselves, they might have the advantage with the tire strategy as we are getting ready to go back green flag racing. There it is. Even start on that restart. Mick and Austin staying side by side into turn number 1. Kenny Charlton doing his best to push that 33 ahead, but give the advantage to the 75 car. Dean Quallie, Kenny Charlton on fresh tires, as well as Matt Moreau. As we got contact with the outside wall. Kenny Charlton
Massive
hard
wreck.
into the inside wall. Ladies and gentlemen, these guys got no fast repairs. Any damage they do to the car, they're going to have to finish the race out with. Kenny Charlton now has some severe rear end damage to that 25 machine. Dean Quallie doesn't look like he is that badly off, but caution flag number 2 on our race. Let's see if we can see what happened here. Coming through 3 and 4 off of turn 4 down the back straightaway. Just looks like the 25 came up into Dean a little bit. Kind of pit maneuvers himself off the nose of that 17 car.
Very unfortunate there for both these cars. They were running neck and neck very high up in the field.
And I am getting word from Larson Parker that his engine did expire.
That is very unfortunate for him too. I'm not sure what could have caused that.
Well, another driver, Justin Walbring, is now sitting in our in the audience watching, and he messaged me as well, saying something about the cars might be hitting the rev limiter a little bit early on the straightaway, putting a lot of stress on that engine.
That probably is the cause. Larson Parker was in the lead a while, was full throttle as much as possible, didn't really have to check up for anybody during this race, and his engine died.
No, but once again, a caution flag changing the complexion of this race. Now we got Mick Olofsson on the point here, in first place. Matt Moreau on some fresh tires outside of him, with Kenny Charlton just in third. Dean Quallie feeling out what potential damage is done to that 17 car, sitting fourth. Austin Strang now catching up to the back of this field after going in and maybe getting some fresh tires.
And just as you mentioned, Austin Strain and Mick Olofsson now have the advantage. If another caution comes out, Mick Olofsson will be able to pit, get that set of fresh tires, unless he has taken them already, and have a several lap advantage over the rest of the field.
No, I do not believe Mick pitted during this caution. He is still on his original starting race tires. Everyone behind him has much fresher rubber. Kenny Charlton, Matt Moreau, Dean Quallie behind him. Austin Strang on the freshest. As we're getting ready to get going back green flag race. Matt Moreau way behind. Green flag back in the air. Looks like Mick had a little bit of issue getting that car going. You see the back end of that car wiggle a little bit as he got to the throttle. Able to hold on to that inside position, keeping Matt Moreau outside. See if Matt can clear him going into turn 3 here. Matt not able to take advantage of those fresher tires just yet. Matt Moreau on the outside. Mick Olofsson keep them out there. Dean Quallie, Kenny Charlton still side by side, third and fourth behind him. Under 20 laps remaining in this race. It is side by side, 2 rows deep. No one has anything for anyone else at this moment here. See Mick Olofsson getting down and then sliding up, almost making contact with that 38. Things are getting really tight coming off of turn number 2 right there. Matt Moreau had the advantage down the back straightaways. We see Kenny Troughton getting loose, just about collecting the 17 of Dean Quallie, catching it up. Great save there from Kenny Troughton.
Mick Olofsson still able to hold on the inside. I do believe he pitted on the first caution of the night, I think around lap 20. So he may be on the older tires. Matt Moreau trying to pass him on the outside coming out of 4.
Yeah, Mick doing everything he can to make that 38 car use all of that fresh rubber up as fast as he can. But I gotta say that those drivers are worried with that 17 machine in their rear view mirror right now.
17 doesn't really have much damage. Oh, the 75 getting sideways. He will lose his momentum. Now he has to battle with the 17.
Absolutely. That little mistake coming out of turn number 4 gave Matt Moreau that advantage that he needed. Ooh, Austin Strang getting into the side of the 17, putting him into the wall as after Mick Olofsson breaks the momentum, sliding up a little bit. Dean Quallie sliding back a couple of positions now as a result of that. Side by side for third, Austin Strang on that brand new rubber. Dean Quallie with a couple laps older. Dean able to reconsolidate into third. Matt Moreau now outside on that front, running away just a little bit, over a half second over Mick Olofsson. Now Mick Olofsson giving up that position to Dean Quallie. A little bit of contact there.
As we were saying earlier, Dean, despite the cautions he has been involved in, doesn't really have much damage on his car. And he is one of the best at saving tires in the field, now taking second place. Can he chase down Matt Moreau before we see the finish?
Well, Mick Olofsson doing everything he can, but Dean's only got 12 laps to go to close up that half-second gap between him and Matt Moreau.
Austin Strain hard into the wall out of 4.
Keeps the car pointed straight, keeps things going. But now Kenny Troughton looking to get around that 75 car, trying to take the last podium position away. Meanwhile, at the front here, Dean Quallie is chipping away at that lead. Couple of tenths every couple laps here. In fact, the last time across the line there, Dean was 2/10 of a second faster than our leader, Matt Moreau. That lead now down to 2/10 of a second.
Dean has now narrowed it to just under a car length. He is quickly approaching the 38 of Matt Moreau.
It will be a fight for the win here before this race is over. Justin Walbring in the stream chat here saying that he just wants to catch some luck. Well, you know what? I think you had all the luck you could get when you had the other number. Now that you've gone back to that 27, you seem to have gone back the wrong way as Dean Quallie looking to the inside. But yeah, Justin, I think you need to make that deal again with your buddy and get that number back. Matt Moreau holding off that charge from Dean Quallie. 7 laps to go at the line here. Dean Quallie looking to try to get his way around. Mick Olofsson losing out to Kenny Troughton. Those older tires not able to keep the track position like Mick was hoping. But Kenny's got some ground to catch up to get to these two leaders as Dean Quallie is once again looking to the inside. Gets a little sideways, has to fall back in line. Dean getting some good momentum coming off the corners here. Now back to the inside of that 38 car, trying to take the lead or the lead away from Matt Moreau, getting sideways once again.
Matt has the better line, but Dean has the better tires. Dean clears him, but can Matt get a crossover into turns 1 and 2?
Was not able to get there. He is looking outside, looking to sweep down back to the bottom here off turn 2. Gets too wide, gets into that outside wall. Now that 17 car is out in the lead. It is going to be hard to get around him. 3 laps to go here. 2.5 down the back straightaway. Dean is opening that lead up. In fact, Matt Moreau might have to fend off Kenny Troughton for second before this race is over. Dean Quallie continuing to open that gap up. Matt behind him in that 38 car has Kenny Troughton all over the back bumper, of which Kenny has none. Doesn't seem that Kenny needs, but white flag in the air one more time around this track.
Well, Kenny throws it hard into turn 1, but will he be able to keep the momentum? It doesn't look like it.
Well, one last try to get around that 38 car, but Dean Quallie going to have no competition. Will sweep the first 2 races in the Falcon Graphics Mini Stock Series. Win number 2 for Dean Quallie. Matt Moreau has just enough tire under him to hold off a hard final charge from Kenny Troughton for third. Mick Olson keeps that car alive for fourth. Austin Strang will get fifth. Larson Parker with a blown motor has to settle for sixth. Justin Walbring will bring up seventh. Bradley Stefan not starting tonight's races. I'm not sure what happened with that 89 car. But Hunter, Dean Quallie had a dominant season last season to win the championship, winning 6 or 7 races out of the 12 ran. Starting strong once again, going 2 for 2. What do you think it's going to take for any of these competitors to bring that 17 car back under wraps?
Well, it is going to have to take a lot for them to compete with the 17. Even last season, Dean had a couple of unfortunate races, mainly caused by me wrecking him. But even then, he was still able to win the championship. Dean is a very good racer and an even better driver when it comes to saving tires.
Well, and that's definitely been a big key for that 17 car is how good they can manage their tires, manage their equipment for the race. But it's going to take a Hail Mary pass, I think, to try to unseat that 17 in the championship this season.
Yeah, it is going to be a very interesting fight, to say the least.
But Hunter, what do you say we bring in our third place finisher, Kenny Troughton? After, a hard-fought race in the Legend Series, Kenny, tonight, you come back with a podium tonight here in the mini stocks again.
Yeah, it wasn't the best race for me. Had some miscues, a lot of miscues actually. Car all overall was pretty good. Just needed a little bit longer of the gear. We were hitting the chip about halfway down the straight, so a little bit more gear would have been nice. But other than that, pretty proud of my efforts. Happy I came out third. Wish I would have came out a couple spots more ahead though.
Well, and we definitely saw you take the fight to Matt Moreau there for second place. How much more did you need to get around that 38 car?
To not have the damage I think I had from coming up on Dean a little bit there. I didn't think I came up, but I didn't even watch it back. I feel like it was more of a met in the middle kind of thing, you know?
Well, it was definitely a racing incident. We watched it back there. There's no malicious intent on either end. There was just some hard racing, looking for every inch of room, and there just wasn't the inch to give.
Yeah. I feel like this one could have been my chance to get a win. Larson ended up blowing up his motor, actually. That's what he ended up pulling off. He came over to the radio and was like, "Yeah, I blew up, guys. Have fun." I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, very unfortunate. He definitely had a very dominant car for the entire race that he was part of it. And then, yeah, like you said, the motor expired in that 18 car and gave Dean the chance to get up there.
Yeah, it was ours to win, but you can't win them all, you know.
Well, Kenny, before I ask for you to go through your sponsors there, Hunter, do you have anything you want to ask Kenny, our third place finisher tonight?
I don't have too much. I just want to say congratulations. You started a little further towards the pack after the incident in the heat race, and were able to climb your way up and got a podium out of it.
I appreciate it.
All right, Kenny. Well, I'm sure you got a few names you want to give a shout out to and thank for helping you out with your race car.
As always, the admins here, Dean, Mick, Justin, yourself, for streaming this. You guys, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be doing this every week and having fun with these boys. Designs by Trouton, Burns Performance, Simrat Market, they're a pretty big help for a lot of what I do. They're pretty good people over there. And everyone else that's on the car, there's too many to name at this point.
Well, it's definitely good to have a lot of help on there, Kenny. Congratulations on third place tonight. You definitely had a shot at a second place there. You just ran out of laps, I think.
Yeah, I feel like maybe another 10, 15. I might have been able to get them. Maybe even less, but who knows? It was fun either way.
Either way, it was a hard-fought race, Kenny. Congratulations.
Thank you guys. Have a great night.
Alrighty. Well, let's bring in our second place finisher, Mr. Matt Moreau, in that number 38 Dodge Avenger. Matt, earlier in the broadcast, we were going through the heat race lineup, and I made the comment that there's definitely a driver in this field that you definitely don't want to sleep on, but he's kind of quiet. You don't see much out of him, but he knows how to put the car where he needs to be there in position at the end, and that's exactly what you did tonight, Matt. You didn't make a lot of noise on that track, but you were there when it counted.
Yeah, just staying in the wings, in that heat race. I think the top three drivers were in that race, and then so that was fun. Thankfully, I had a little help from Dean there, a little present, and then I accidentally gave him one back at the end of the race. But overall, it was a lot of fun. Um, Having to do some tire saving. Obviously, Dean's the best at it, but we saved enough to be able to stay in it.
Absolutely, and you did too. We know Kenny Trouton is a pretty dang solid driver. So for you to keep him in your rear view mirror as long as you did is actually pretty dang impressive, Matt. So how worried were you when you saw that 25 coming up on you?
Not as worried as when I saw a 17 behind me. um, but actually, it was a lot easier because I was kind of following Dean's line after he got by me. And then I saw Kenny behind, and I was just trying to stay in Dean's tracks there. But Kenny did chase me down also.
Well, there's definitely, there's a while where you, Dean, and Kenny were all kind of one by one there, kind of evenly spaced. No one had really anything for each other. And then all of a sudden, Dean kind of got around, got gone. You and Kenny had that bit of a battle. And yeah, you put on one heck of a show right to the checkered flag.
Yeah, overall it was a lot of fun. Trying to be there when it counts.
I guess I want to say that you really have some kind of special talent there. Like Tom said,
Thanks.
you manage to kind of slip under our noses just a little bit and end up walking away with really good finishes throughout the season. You were able to get fourth last week and now second. Is there anything that you try to do different than the other drivers?
Not really. Just trying to be better with my line and accelerating points. So I think the um, biggest thing that helps is consistency. Trying to save your tires, trying to be consistent with your lap times. Because if you're all over the place with your lap times, um, one guy could be super quick, and then the next lap could be super slow. And when you get past, that's when it can go downhill.
Well, and
100%.
to that point, Matt, there, I do a program in real life at my local racetrack called the Junior Race Program, where we take youth and teach them how to drive a race car around our track. And one thing that I try to impress on those young drivers is that anyone can learn to go out there and nail one super stupid fast lap. They aren't going to be the ones that are guaranteed to win the race. Because there's drivers out there that they may be a couple of tenths of a second slower, but they are consistently hitting that couple of tenths.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're consistent, if you can get by people, passing is really difficult. Especially this track where we're hitting the rev limiter. But if you're able to get by someone, you can do a pretty good job defending, keeping a very solid line, and then being consistent too. So you're not that person who's super quick one lap, and then you get passed, and then you're slow and you can't make up that ground because you've been passed.
Most definitely, and learning to do that is honestly probably one of the hardest things about racing is knowing when to push, knowing
It's
when to
hard.
conserve, and knowing where to put your car and how to be consistent.
Yeah, for sure. It's a challenge, always trying to get better at it, but
Well, Matt, I'm sure before we let you go here that you got a few names on that car you want to thank for helping out your race program.
yeah, I'll start with my real life sponsors at Flower City Collision, Hazelton Auto Mall, L&M Auto Glass, TZ Graphics, Wilbur 2 Bullet, and my YouTube channel, which I'll be posting a couple of clips from this race on his SRTV.
All right, Matt. Well, congratulations on second place tonight. That's definitely a very solid finish, and we look to see what happens throughout the remainder of the season with that 38 team.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Hope to see you guys in the booth more often.
Hopefully, we enjoy having you here.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Hunter, it's the man of the hour right now, Dean Quallie. We're almost to the point here where it's like Justin last season in the mini stock series where we pretty much just could pre-record the interview with you.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what happened with Larson. He blew up, and I can't figure that one out. But I definitely didn't have the fastest car tonight.
Well, word is that these cars were not geared quite right for the track, and they were hitting the rev limiter very early on the straightaway. So we're wondering if that didn't have an issue with Larson's car.
Oh yeah, they were revved out halfway down.
And with the speed that Larson had, the speed off the turn that he could carry, he was probably hitting that limiter a little bit earlier than everyone else.
I'm thinking so. Yeah.
But Dean, once again, you found yourself from the back of the pack after issues in your heat race, all the way to the front when it counted. Is that just your game plan to start at the back every race and make a fool of everyone?
Definitely not this time. Not with Kenny and Larson. And I knew Justin. Unfortunately, Justin got caught up in a wreck, but he was fast tonight. I mean, he turned the fastest lap of the race. Yeah, no, I was had an unfortunate incident in the heats, and yeah, started at the back. And well, I was hoping that Kenny and Larson would burn their stuff up, and I could save mine. But yeah, it is what it is. It was a all right race. Hopefully, more cars next time too.
Well, it's always definitely more fun with more cars, but even these smaller car fields, we had 8 cars show up tonight. Only 7 actually participated. I'm not quite sure what happened with Brad that he didn't come out at all tonight, but he was registered for the race. But even our Legends series here that we ran earlier tonight, we had I believe 8 or 10 cars in that one, and we still had a pretty solid battle all the way through.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, I think Brad went over tech pad and they deemed him. I don't know. They found something illegal distributor or something.
Oh, he must have bought your car.
Nope. I'll go through tech, buddy.
Maybe he didn't buy your car. Maybe he bought some extra parts that didn't meet spec.
Well, I can't say that. I can't confirm that.
Well, I mean, it's very unfortunate that Brad didn't show up because he is another pretty quick driver. Don't matter what you put him in, but
Yeah, and hopefully Hunter will be racing next time too.
well, we're definitely
Where are we
going.
running next week?
Slinger. No, Linear.
I might be able to make that one.
Well, I do happen to believe that you do own that track, so yeah, we will force you to run that one if we have to duct tape your ass into that seat.
Lanier is a free track, so I have no excuse for this week.
Exactly. All right, Dean. I'm sure you got a few people you want to give shout-outs to.
Yeah, for sure. Fulca Graphics, All the Dirt, Drew Bauer. You, Tom, and Hunter for broadcasting tonight. All the guys in the series, the league. It's competitive this season. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely, Dean. You know, and a huge shout out has to go out to you, Dean, for putting all this together. The Rusty Misfits Racing League. You know, we got 5 series running throughout the week now. Between this, the Legends that we ran today, the ARCA series we ran yesterday, and you know, you got the Dirt Car Minis and UMPs coming up on Thursday. It's a lot of legwork in the background to make this stuff happen.
Well, a lot of it has to go out to Mick Olofsson too. He definitely runs the Thursday night series of dirt cars, and he puts in a lot of time with this series and league as well. So, and you, Tom, as well. So, thank you all.
Alrighty, Dean. Well, we will let you go to go back to your pit road. I'll join you shortly to have a celebratory pilsner with you. Maybe you need to get a glass of milk ready for Hunter.
Oh, I think we got chocolate milk this time, so I upgraded.
Ooh,
But
Hunter,
finally.
you're getting spoiled.
Yep, no, for sure. I'd also like to give a big old shout out to my old man. I know he's watching, so again, this one's for him. I like doing it. Oh, and I got a little twerp beside me that wants a shout out too. So I'll give a shout out to Jackson.
Well, Jackson, if you're listening, we miss you out here on track. We wish you'd be able to come and join us as well.
Yeah, now see Tom. Now he has big shoes to fill if he comes in the back in this car.
I don't know. He won the Season 4 championship, didn't he?
Yeah, but I won season 5.
Well, then one could argue
Oh.
that you filled his shoes.
Well, shit, I guess I walked into that one. Yep.
Well, either way,
Using
Dean,
the
you're.
lessons learned from his son.
You know what? We'll go with that one. You know, a little Mr. Miyagi. The master becomes the student.
Yep. So for sure. But again, thanks guys for doing what you did tonight, and yeah, on to next week.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, 2 for 2 on this season so far, Dean. Maybe we'll go 3 for 3, and we'll have a repeat of season 5.
Well, I hope not to jinx that one, but we'll see.
One way to find out, you'll have to tune in next week.
I better be there.
Alrighty. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will bring this broadcast to an end now. Thank you, Hunter, for joining me in the broadcast here for this amazing race at New Smyrna. A lot of hard fighting. Seen Dean do his, I'm going to call it his patented back to front, even though it wasn't quite as planned this time.
Yeah, we had some unfamiliar circumstances for these guys with the rev limiter and the track, but we had a familiar face tonight standing on top, Dean Quallie.
Absolutely, and you know what? He's got a lot of hard competition in the field this season. It's going to be a little bit more of a challenge for him to walk away, but so far 2 for 2 on the season. Unfortunately, Larson Parker with a dominant car in the first quarter of this race, first third at least, having engine issues, having to retire to the garage area, and not being able to get up there and or stay up there and give Dean a run for his money.
Yeah, Larson had a very strong start to the season, finishing second at USA, but this may mess with his point standings a little bit. He'll have to try to rebound week 3 at Lanier.
Absolutely. But we will call it a night here. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. My name's Tom Quiring. That is Hunter Wellman joining beside me here in the booth. This has been the Falcon Graphics Rusty Misfits Racing League rookie. Well, they're no longer the rookie mini stocks. This is the pavement mini stock series. Thank you for joining us. I hope to see you all again next week, and we'll see Hunter behind the wheel.